Hi and welcome aboard. This week I'm chatting with another special guest, Simon Gauthier from Quebec, Canada. We're chatting about his modelling in regards to his tips and techniques in his recent first place build in the Leo Palladium Memorial build, which was hosted on the HO Scale Model Railroading Facebook page, I should say. Hi, I'm Daz from Model Railroading Techniques. Our YouTube channel produces predominantly video podcasts showcasing modellers from all around the world. If you know of a model that might fit the bill, or maybe it might be yourself, email a link below, reach out to me and we'll get chatting. So don't forget to subscribe, like. To keep the content rolling, I also have a new Patreon page. Any little bit helps, so link to below also to that. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome aboard, Simon Gauthier from the province of Quebec in Canada, and this is version number 2 of this interview. So thanks, Simon, for putting up with my technical difficulties.
Yeah, thank you too. Yeah, it's nice. A pleasure to meet you.
That's great. That's great. So obviously I'll link to everything below. And Simon, if there's any more links since we've spoken to last, you can be found on www.goodmemories.ca. You've got a Facebook page and YouTube of La Fabrique Good Memories, and we'll talk about that soon, and I'll link to your email below as well. So first of all, I'd like to say congratulations for your first place in what we're going to now affectionately call the Leo Palladium Memorial Diorama build, which is on
thank you.
The HO Scale Model Railroading Facebook group. So thanks for that beautiful build that you did with that.
Thanks. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So it's built, you've called it the Honorary Fishing Club. So which kit, which bar meal? That was a bar meals kit, wasn't it?
It's a bar miles kits.
Yep.
And it's in memory of my grandfather. He teach me all I know in fishing.
Oh, lovely.
So it's why I called it Henry Fishing Club.
Right.
His name is Henry. Yeah.
Yeah, lovely, lovely. So obviously that was the driving force and the inspiration and everything that goes in behind that lovely build.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was a very nice grandfather. He bring me all time at fishing with him, and we had very nice time together.
Yeah, lovely. So we'll talk a bit about the build to a certain degree. We'll get to the build in a sec. So your modeling history, I think I'll like to have a quick talk about that. So how did you get into modeling, whether it's train modeling like you are now or those beautiful memory models, we'll call them, that you're also building? So what's your journey there?
Yeah. So it's beginning with my little son. My little son always looking for train since he are very young. He had fascination for trains for a long time. So I bring him lots of time at the train industry for show him what's happened there. And finally, one Christmas, we buy him a little layout with a speed clip with the fast track. And finally, I discovered me a passion across that. And I just build him a mountain and some scenery, and so I beginning to take a look on tutorial. And after a certain time, I decide to make a bigger layout. Everything began in 2018.
Nice.
So I decide to make like a pro, like everybody does. So making all the track custom, all the layout, and I begin to buy some train, and finally across that I just discover I just asking to me to make this every day, because I have a fixation on the scenery, because I love making something existing but in small scale.
Sure.
So we're talking with one of my best friend. I talked to him of my idea, And we during the talking, the discussion, we just bring the idea to just make revive dead people in this kind of scenery, and it's like that the La Fabrique Memories born with this idea to to replace the feeling of hole in our life by good memories of the people. They are not there anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, lovely. So that's the memory urns that you make. You make, my understanding, and it's some beautiful. And we'll show some photos, and I'll definitely put a link up to the website. So you make little dioramas, so to speak, in honor of loved ones that have passed away. I think that's pretty well what you're doing, and there's some of them are absolutely gorgeous, I must admit. So, and I'll definitely, that's goodmemories.ca on your website, which is great. So your
Thanks.
Your current layout, does that have a name now, or is it sort of very just a?
I thought for a long time for a name for my layout, and lumberjack.
Oh, lumberjack.
Lumberjack.
Okay, so
Lumberjack Railroad.
So it's called the lumberjack. Okay, so 928.
It's gonna be Lumberjack River Railroad or something like that, but it's gonna be it's gonna talking about lumberjack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lumberjack River Railroad.
Yeah. Railroad.
Oh, lovely. So, what sort of trains are you running? Are you going to run some steam engines, or is it going to be diesel type engines, or?
I'm gonna have just one steam engine. At the beginning, I was fascination for steam engine, but after a certain time, when I built my layout and I just driving it, my first engine, I just discovered that it's pretty capricious, so it's not very easy to operate.
Sure.
And in the case of my layout, I don't have a lot of space.
Sure.
And I wanted to have a lot of things in a smaller space. So it's why my circle, my turnout, gonna be shorter. It's maybe the bigger one is 36 inch.
Right. Okay.
So with the steam locomotive, you don't have versatile. It's always on track, and you have a lot of difficulty to turn. So you could not have the big steam that I wanted at the beginning.
So just shorter locomotive, so you can fit in what you want. So
exactly. So I choose the 50, 60 years. So you have, again, steam locomotive, and you have the beginning of diesel machine.
All right. Okay.
So,
so the transition, what they call the transition era of model railroading in the Northern
Hemisphere.
So are you going to run predominantly Canadian national trains, or are you going to run a little bit of American stuff as well? I've seen a Burlington National, I think. Burlington Northern wagon that you've weathered up there. So it's just going to be, so they're going to run a little bit of like what I'm talking about, the types of railway carriages and what railway they come from.
I especially gonna roll my CN, Canadian National.
Yeah.
Because I love the logo, and I love the color of this locomotive.
Sure.
And the engine was very nice. One of my friend that he gave me the passion, old man called Pierre Couture. He just running Canadian National, and I just love his machine. And finally, I decide to operate the Canadian National. But I'm going to have some wagon from other company to make, like in real life, they bring other stuff from other country, and
Sure. Yeah,
I,
lovely.
I just I just buying the wagon. If I just love one wagon, I'm done bother about the company. But
Yeah, sure.
for the engine, it's gonna be Canadian National.
Yeah, nice, nice. So, who would your modelling influences be? So, what I mean by that is, so who do you look at their modelling? So, like a Pele Solberg, who I interviewed a few weeks ago, or a George Celios, who does the Craftsman kits. You probably were aware of those gentlemen. Who would you sort of be the people that really, really you like their modelling and you sort of take a little bit and you sort of copy them to a certain degree, like I do?
Yeah. First, I talked to you before, my friends Pierre Couture. It's a whole man that he are a lot of experience. It's maybe 40 years now.
Yeah,
He
lovely.
making scenery and he makes everything by himself. All
Wow.
his building, all his little thing, he makes everything, and it's an end scale, so it's pretty impressive what he
Yeah,
does.
lovely.
And first and after, when I beginning in the modeling, I look a lot of tutorial from Luke Towan.
You
Luke
look, yep.
Towan inspire me a lot. And after that, you have Jason Jensen. Jason Jensen makes very nice things too, and his tutorial are also very interesting.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Definitely, definitely. So obviously Luke Towan's a gentleman from my part of the world, which is good. And I follow Jason along as well, particularly when I'm looking at building Craftsman kits. That's for sure.
yeah,
So what
yeah,
we'll get into now, you're able to see that picture up there, okay, Simon? So this is your contest build. So we'll
yeah,
talk about this a little bit. So as we've already talked about, Honray Fishing Club in honour of your grandfather. Obviously, he
yeah.
used to take you fishing, and that's a lovely little name there, and in honour of your grandpa. So, talk us through. Obviously, the contest build was a little while ago now. Talk us through what the rules of the contest were, if you can remember some of them. So, you were in the advanced class to start with, so we'll start with that. Question is, so what were the rules of the competition? What features did you have to put in, and what features? Because there was only a certain amount of like cars you could put in, a certain amount of people you could put in. What can you remember? What some of those were, and those design facets?
Yeah, yeah. I had lots of nights that I didn't sleep because I was thinking about it. Because at the beginning, I'm usually I make my base 12 by 12 inches,
Yep.
and now it was 8 inches by 11 inches. So I was thinking about what I gonna make to put in there to have something interesting. And finally, one of my friend, I talking about him. He was a competitor too. It's Lloyd Pacheco. His name on internet is John Pacheco.
Yep.
So you have a huge layout too. Is very interesting too. He's a very nice guy. So he shared me his idea to make a building just beside the lake, and I just growing this idea growing this idea, and I was thinking to put some boats in it. So like we saw beside the lake at some place, some of people just park them boat in the building. So I thinking about this, and after that, I just I had the inspiration, the beginning inspiration about it,
Sure.
and I just building everything around this. So I use some techniques from especially Jason Jensen, from the pies. So I make the pies like his fabulous tutorial he makes on it.
Oh, yep, the pylons for the little jetty area. Yep, I can see that.
Exact. And I was taking a look in my people, my figurines, to just building an idea for the situation, just making situation about what they looking, what they represent. And at the end, I just finished with the guy just beside the building with his truck. He's just screaming about a raccoon. So I wanted to make animals too in it. So I had thinking to put raccoon just looking at the garbage. And at the end, I just find disfiguring the guy that he have his arm just upstairs, and he just looking like screaming at raccoons. And I had the guy in the boat at the beginning. He didn't not supposed to be in the scenery, but because I had another boats, when I built the first base,
sure,
I didn't use the right resin, so I used fast cure resin.
Right.
And when you put fast cure resin in too much big layer, it's like burning. It's making too much warm,
right,
and everything around it burning. So the first base I working on for 20 hours was burning by the resin because I didn't use the right one.
Okay.
Yeah, you know the chemical.
So what resin did you end up using for that water then? Can you remember?
Finally, I make some. After that, I told me I don't have to make this mistake again, because you're gonna lose 20 hours of your life to make another base again. So I learned about that, and I take a lot of things on the internet to find the right reason. And finally, you have a tutorial on some work that some people makes, and I find the hard resin. Hard resin is very nice resin to work. And it's a low pure resin, and it makes a very nice finish too. Yeah, you don't have to polish a lot to make the translucent effect in the front of the scenery.
Sure. Can you remember what brand that resin was?
Just bring it for show it, but now I have to get it. So it's this one, art resin.
Ah, lovely. That's a two-part resin, like an A and a B. Yep, and you mix. Yep, okay.
You have A part and B part.
Sure.
So you have to mix it half and half.
Sure.
And it's really nice to work. And for the coloration, some people use anchor specific for this resin, but I use my Vallejo acrylic.
Yeah.
It's making a little bit spark, a little bit. It's not very clear. Just making just some grain in the resin, so I like it because it's reproduce the real water that you have some part of the reef in the water, or you know. Yeah.
So you talked about some Jason Jensen techniques that you use.
Yeah.
Because obviously this model has got a lot of different mediums, I suppose. There's corrugated iron that I can see. There's shingles, which we'll talk about in a second. And then there's what they call, in my part of the world, board and batten. So the vertical batten boards, or the vertical sheeting, I suppose. So what techniques did you use for your corrugated iron? Step us through how you did those, because they look really, really nice.
Yeah. For Kirkgate, I was inspired by a tutorial from especially Jason Jensen. And I just improved the techniques to make it like I wanted the finishing. And I just take a look on a lot of photo on internet. I just reaching for a specific finish. So I was inspired by a lots of photo and the techniques from Jason Jensen he making with the sponge.
Yep. Yep.
So I used three kind of three layer of color: brown, orange rust, and wood.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, and so to depend of what a finish you want, you put more or less pressure on the sponge, and you I make different pattern on each sheet
Sure.
to mix it together and finally find the right result you want.
Yep.
So it's like that.
So
It's
the
that
sponging
I
technique.
working.
Yep. Yeah, that's
Yep.
very similar to what I do. Yeah, get your colour on. You just work the sponge up. Less is more. So you just start with a little bit and just build up that colour and texture in it. That you've done a really nice job there. So
Exactly.
the whole scene that you built here, was that based around similar to where your grandpa used to take you, or is it something just fictitious that you've made up effectively, or a bit of both?
Oh, it's not a place that he exists. It's just it's somewhere I invented.
Yeah,
And I was going with the space that I had, like I talking to you before.
Sure.
And I just build an egg. When I build an egg, all the inspiration coming for where I gonna put this things and where I gonna put the other things, the figurines and all that stuff. So the inspiration coming when you build something, you make the base, and after the base, all the things that I want to put in it just coming after. So it's a
Sure.
long process, to arrive at this finishing process.
Sure. Now, I noticed also you've done some really lovely lighting effects, particularly where the boat drives in off the water through the two jetties inside the building. So how did you do? How'd you do the lighting?
Yeah, I put when I finished the resin step. I used Mod Podge gloss to make the wave. With my hairbrush, I just used just the hair to make the wave. But before, in the Mod Podge gloss, I make the first layer with Mod Podge without everything, without nothing. And after, I use another layer of Mod Podge, but with just a bit of white acrylic in it. But I didn't use enough acrylic. I just used a mini touch of acrylic, but it wasn't enough. After a certain time, after a couple of days, I don't know why. Maybe my Mod Podge wasn't enough dry when I take the photo, but it's just disappeared.
Yeah, sure.
After that, after the first interview that we made together, I wanted to test and to make other tests to have this result at the end, and it stay in the time. And I use the perfect quantity of white acrylic to do it, because if you put one time I put too much and it's not enough translucent.
Sure.
And the second time I put just the right quantity to arrive to have a nice translucent finish, and you don't. It's not appear like too deep. It's just mixing perfect with the clear water beside of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So, how many layers of resin is that water? How many pours did you do?
Yeah, in consequence from my experience of the first resin I used, the fast cure, burning my first base, I used 2 layer for make it. So the first layer, it was a mix from this first resin, so it's why it making bubble.
Yeah.
And after that, I use another layer of resin, the art resin, to make the finishing. So it's why you have the first layer, you have just bubble on the half of the water, and the next layer is art resin. It's a low cure resin, so you don't have any bubble in it.
Yeah. Nice.
But it's I mean that it's not pretty controlled process.
Yeah.
It's I had this finishing just by miracle, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't burn it, but I was very lucky to have this finishing.
Yeah. This water you've done, and we'll get to the Facebook questions off our Facebook site soon. A lot of people want to know about the water. This water is some of the best water I think I've ever seen modelled. I'll tell you that right now. And
Thank you.
I'm no good at water myself, but I've learned a lot by looking at it. Literally looks like the way you've done this water. If you've got, you know what goggles are, you know, when you go scuba diving and you just literally you start going below the waterline and you get that, just that you've got that look. I don't know how you've done it. It's just absolutely outstanding where you've got all the debris and the rocks and all that above. You've got a few little bubbles above that. You've got some wildlife like fish, I think, swimming in there, I can see. And then obviously you've got just a little cloudier layer above that, which sort of suggests that the water's been moved around, or it's got some sort of current, what we call it in my part of the world. So you've done an outstanding job, Simon, really have.
Yeah.
So
thanks.
How did you do the fish, I suppose? Because I think that's one thing I want to know. What are they made out of to start with?
Yeah, the fish, it's not from me. The idea, I have to tell you that it's not from me. It's an idea of Luke Towan that he make it in one of his tutorial about a bear in the river. It's very nice tutorial.
Yeah.
So I use these techniques. I just print the fish, and after that you use it's another kind of resin. It's glue resin. It's epoxy
resin.
glue.
Yeah.
Epoxy glue. You just make a strip on a wax paper.
Yeah.
Just put flat your fish, and you just put strip touching the fish, and you just with a wood stick, you just bring it down, and after that you cut different eye for make different for the fish didn't have
being different levels in the water.
Yeah, exactly, different level.
Yeah. Okay. Did you have any ones that just floated away, or they pretty well once you did your pour, you put the fish in, they sort of stayed where you wanted them to finish up? Yeah. Okay.
I just glue it on the scenery, and after that I make the resin.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah. Lovely. So now all the lighting you've done on the model is very, very nice. So the lighting, what I mean is are they LED lights that you've used in the model?
Yeah.
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 So talk us through about what you wanted to do there.
Yeah, it's a kit from Woodland Scenics. I wanted to try it on my layout. And during this process, I was thinking to put some lights, and I wanted easy to make and easy to light it up if I wanted to light it up on or off just with one switch. Sure. So I use this kits. It's I'm gonna show you what this kit is.
Yep.
That's you have different part from this kit. It's called Just Plug.
Just plug-in. Yep. So plug and play. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Exactly. So it's really easy to use, and you just have to plug your lights in it. And I make just fixing it in my base. I just make a hole.
Yep.
And all the line just going at this this module.
Yeah.
This one.
So.
And after you have a switch that you plug in it.
Yeah. So my understanding, you can basically dim the light, can't you? It's got a little knob on it, so you can dim the intensity of the light, so to speak. So
exactly.
Yeah, lovely.
Exactly.
So what was your favourite technique, I suppose, that you used on this build? The one that you thought this has turned out. We'll take the water out of it because that's just stunning in itself. But we'll say the actual structure. What was your favourite technique that you used?
My favorite technique, I better like when I make a build or a scenery, is the finishing touch I give at the wood. All the process I make for making the wood appearance like that,
Right.
to make it hold look.
Yeah.
So it's really that I really like to make this process.
Yeah.
And especially on this building, it was my first wooden kit.
Yeah.
And I really like to work the bar mice kits. For sure, it's not going to be the last one.
Yeah, lovely. So what talk us through the process a little bit, how you aged the wood. How did you make it look old?
Yeah. I usually use this these little things. Lots of people use it to electrify them layout. I don't know how you call it in English.
It's a little metal brush, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you can.
I think they call it a distressor or a stressor. I know the one you mean. Yeah, just puts in little indentations into the wood to make it look a bit more. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's easier to control the grain that you make in the wood with this than just another things that somebody use. Some people use this one. Some people use these things.
Oh yeah, metal brush. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not enough hard. So it's really hard to have a fast result.
Yeah.
So it's why I prefer to work with this. You can have more control on what you do because it's pretty precise.
Sure.
And it's faster than these things.
So what's the first layer of color you put down? So you get the wood, you get the little distressor, you put the lines in it or the indentations. What do you do next? What's the first color? Is it an Indian ink wash or another type of wash that you do first?
No, usually I'm working always with acrylic paint. Yep. I dilute it in water to depend of the deepness of the color I want. If I want it translucent and I want to keep what you have under on it, I just dilute it more with water.
Sure.
And so the first layer I use usually for woods is the chocolate brown.
Right. Okay.
So,
yep.
And after that, I use the techniques of dry brush.
Yep.
So the techniques I think that many of you know. You just put some acrylic paint on a dry brush, and you give up the excess from it on a paper or something like that.
Sure.
And after that, you just put on the light touch on your material, and just a part of the paint rest where you have a higher layer of your material. I don't know if you understand what I mean, but
yep, no, definitely what you just. Put a little bit of paint on the brush. You get rid of most of it on a paper towel, and then just lightly put it onto the model, just to put on the highlights of the wood. So obviously that then accentuates the indentations that you put in with a wire brush, effectively. So
exactly. Yeah. If I want more color, you just have to push more harder on your material on the wood, and after that. I just finishing where you have walking through. I just finishing with pan pastel.
Yep.
For I use black mixed with brown pan pastel to put where the people walking on the wood, or where you have a place where the people walking around this place a lot,
Sure, sure.
like this on the on the horses place, just all around. I just use
Yep,
pen pastel
yep.
to, yeah,
To accentuate all the detail,
accentuate.
so
Yeah,
to speak, yeah, and make it look a little bit dirtier. So, yep, no, I understand what you're saying there. So, now Simon, you sent me a video or some videos, and I know we'll have a chat with these about these off camera afterwards. Shingles is another thing on this model that you've done an exceptional job with.
yeah,
Okay, so what we'll show now, Simon, is you've done a beautiful job of the shingles, as I've just said. Now, can you talk us through, and I'll play a little video here that you sent me, just
yeah.
on the technique on how you do it. So I'll start that video now. So obviously here's the shingles that came with the kit. So just talk us through what you're doing here.
Yeah, exactly. On what they give in the bar mice kit, I just put just like you see on the first picture. I just put 3 layer of random brown, and after that you just unstrip the model like I show you, and I just give up the excess. Sometimes you have some excess on it. After that, you put strip under the first one random for you have a random pattern, and after that, when you have finished this pattern, this random pattern, you just take off some part of it. You just pull up some sheets to giving the illusion of old place when the sheets have had dry much more than other place. You know what I mean?
Sure, sure.
It's making a old style, old finishing of
Yeah,
for the shingles.
yeah,
And like I told you, I use a lot pan pastel on my scenery to making a lot of contrast on some material,
yeah. Lovely.
especially shingles. So like I show you, I just mixing 2 color. Here it's the brown and the black, and you just put a little touch on it,
Sure.
and you can erase with your finger at some place where you have to put too much pan pastel. You can erase it with your finger, and it's giving the finishing touch for giving the contrast like you see just at the bottom of the wall. I had put more, and at some place where you have the shingle that I pull up, you can put more to
Sure.
make more contrast on this place. So you have to choose where you use it. And
Yeah.
on the model that you see, I don't know if you can show the front of it, close from the door. Where you have the door, I use these techniques of pan pastel.
Sure.
Just at the bottom of the door, you have a green
Oh, okay.
finishing
Yep. Sure. Sure.
to show. To
So,
show.
so those shingles that you've got on that model, are they got a sticky back, like a self-adhesive back, or are they like the other ones you got to glue down?
No, it was already sticky,
Right.
so you just have to stick on the wood
Yep.
sheets,
Sure.
and it was a very easy way to do it, and it's why I really like the Bar Miles kit,
Right.
because they thinking easy things to make very nice finishing of the reality what we want.
Sure. Sure.
It's what
So,
we're looking.
yeah, it's lovely. That's lovely. So, where did you learn that technique of doing the shingles?
The shingles. I think that I saw a tutorial on it. I don't remember who makes this tutorial.
Yeah.
I think that the Jason Jensen makes a tutorial
He
about
does.
shingles.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I use these techniques because he was using it for the first time, and I use these techniques But for the pan pastel, like I told you, I use it everywhere in
Sure.
my scenery.
Yeah.
So I always finishing with this little touch of pan
Yeah.
pastel making
Yeah. Lovely.
contrast.
Lovely. So what we might do now, I also posed a question up on the Facebook page, which is the HO Scale Model Railroading Facebook page. We're both members
Yeah.
of, and obviously this is where the competition came from, and that I was going to be interviewing you. So we'll just pick some of these questions out because obviously we've, let me bring them across. We have discussed some of them, so I'll thank for everyone for taking the time. So Buddy, which is his interview went up last week. He was the first one I spoke to. He asked a question about pouring water and how you get it so deep. We sort of already touched on that side of things. One thing I didn't talk with from Ken Huff is how much casting resin did you actually go through? Because it's obviously quite a deep pour and quite a large area.
How much costing?
Yeah, how much casting?
It's not pretty expensive. It's what do you mean?
No, how many? Well, did you use 1 liter or 2 liters, or I think that's what he's asking.
Oh no, let remember me.
How many bottles, I suppose?
I think that it's like 500
Milliliters, yeah. So half a liter,
milliliters.
yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
half of liter. Yeah. I think that no, it's pretty close from 800 milliliters.
Okay, so a
Yeah.
bit under a liter. Okay.
Yeah, I remember now. Yeah, it takes a lot of resin.
So also here is Michael Allard. Apologise if I said that name wrong. What vegetation did you use on the bottom of the water? So the riverbed. What did you use
On the riverbed?
Yeah, what did you use? Yeah.
Exactly. I use the paint. I make finishing on the rock like you make always. I use two layers of gray on the rock, and after I use the dry brush techniques with the white, just to make some lights on the rock. And behind the rock, I use fine turf to make the green grass under the water.
Sure.
And I just extend this color with acrylic paint diluted in water. So I change the color of fine turf to make it more army green, something like that, you know?
Yeah,
Lovely. Like the real grass under the water.
Sure.
And and after that, I just glue the fish behind the rock, and I use my paintbrush, my hairbrush, to make the contrast where you have the section where the water going up and going down. So I make 2 layers of greens.
Right.
A darker on the top and a lighter on the bottom.
That's quite interesting because there's another question here from David Blessing. He's curious how you create the water movement the water to move in appearance. I think that sort of does that by the different coloration, sort of where you get sort of the upper current of the riverbed sort of moving through. So I think that's what he's meaning here, and I think you've explained that very well. Daniel Willant, how long did it take you to do this build from start to finish? How much time? If you can actually quantify that, actually count that, I suppose, is the next thing.
Yeah, do you count the first base that I lost?
I think so.
Yeah, the first base that I lost, it was 22 hours working. Yeah. But finally, if you just count the mistake, if you don't count the mistake, the base was maybe the next one. The second one was better looking, sure. And I make it faster because I had just 1 week to finish my all the scenery. Yeah. So it's maybe 18 hours, something like that.
Wow.
And the build, especially because it was my first wooden kit, I think that I put maybe 35 hours on it, easy. easy. Yeah. So around 55, 60 hour of working.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
lot of time. And obviously, the next question is: did your marriage survive the model build? I think that's an ongoing thing for all us modelers throughout the world. That's not inherent
Yeah.
just to whether you're in Canada, United States, or Australia, or anywhere else. So that's fine.
Yeah. I have a very nice wife. My wife, fortunately, is always surprised by what I arrive to making.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I think that, everybody is pretty fascinated by modeling. It's
Yeah,
always fascinating that the
sure.
people to see what the people make at this scale.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, just to
Now,
reproduce what we see all day long. Yeah.
you've got some lovely trees on that scene as well. Are they homemade trees, or are they kit trees? Are they bought trees, or what? How did
Yeah,
you
they
do those?
are everything is homemade.
Right.
So I use the whole techniques that everybody knows, and I just improve it to make it better. I use the brush technique with rope. I make a very nice tutorial. I think it's what the people told me. I make a very nice tutorial on my YouTube channel to show how I make them. Yeah,
Sure. Okay. I'll grab that in a sec, and I'll link that below. I think tree
and
video.
yeah, and if you want to know, I talking for a long time to you. My next tutorial I gonna make for Kirkgate.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I've almost finished.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Lovely.
gonna release it this week.
Oh, lovely. Is that in English, or is that French, or a bit of both?
Yeah, it's always in English
English.
because
Lovely.
some people told me here in Quebec why it's not in French. Because the first reason it's because I just benefit. I just had so much benefit from other tutorial at the beginning when I trying to make something,
Sure.
and all tutorial is in English, and almost of the people looking for tutorial,
Yeah.
it was in English.
Yeah.
So it's why I wanted to give back at the modeler community what
Sure.
I improve about
Yeah.
some techniques.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
I don't gonna make a tutorial to show what you have already on YouTube. So I'm gonna show techniques that I improve.
Sure.
I'm gonna show something new.
Definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, Simon, I'm going to have to thank you so much for coming along to the show this evening. Looks like you got some father duties to do there with your young kiddies, put them to bed, which I think is more important than talking to me in Australia. So I think that's important with the kids. Keep them happy and get a good night kiss and cuddle from their dad, which is fantastic. So thank you so much for chatting with me on Model Railroad Techniques today.
It was a real pleasure for me, Daisy.
No worries. Thank you very much.